Welcome back. If you clicked on this video, it is because you are carrying a sentence in your head that feels too heavy to speak aloud. They broke me. You aren't talking about a broken heart. A broken heart is a clean fracture. It heals. You are talking about a shattering of the self. You are talking about looking in the mirror and seeing a stranger's eyes staring back at you. Eyes that look tired, hollow, and ancient. You are functioning. You are waking up. You are going to work. But inside, the lights have been turned off. Today, we are going to validate that darkness. We are going to explore the invisible crime scene of a narcissistic relationship, where the murder weapon was words and the victim was your identity. Society does not have a language for what you have endured. If they had hit you, you would have bruises to show the police. If they had stolen your car, you would have an insurance claim. But what do you do when someone steals your reality? What do you do when the theft is psychological? The narcissist didn't just take your time or your money. They took your sense of agency. They dismantled your personality, brick by brick, until the structure of who you are collapsed. You feel broken because you were systematically deconstructed by someone who claimed to love you. This is not a breakup. This is an evacuation from a war zone where the enemy was sleeping in your bed. The sensation of being broken is actually a state of profound dissociation. You spent so long suppressing your gut instincts to please them, suppressing your voice to avoid their rage, and suppressing your needs to feed their ego, that you severed the connection with yourself. You are like a radio that has been tuned to static for so years that you have forgotten what music sounds like. You feel numb because your nervous system decided that feeling nothing was safer than feeling the constant, unpredictable pain they inflicted. You are not crazy for feeling this way. You are a survivor of chronic psychological siege warfare. Think about the energy you wake up with, or the lack thereof. It is a spiritual fatigue that sleep cannot touch. You feel heavy, as if gravity is pulling on you twice as hard as everyone else. This is the weight of the cognitive dissonance you carried. Trying to believe their lies while your intuition screamed the truth required a massive expenditure of mental energy. You were running a marathon every single day just to maintain that illusion. Now that it is over, you are left with the exhaustion of a person who has been holding up the sky. They broke your endurance by exploiting your willingness to carry their burdens. You look at old photos of yourself before them, and you mourn that person like they are dead. You see a light in those eyes, a naivety, a trust in the world that feels alien now. That version of you didn't know that predators camouflage themselves as soulmates. The breaking you feel is the death of your innocence. It is the brutal realization that evil is not just something in movies. It is something that can hold your hand, look you in the eye, and promise you forever while sharpening a knife behind its back. You are grieving the loss of your worldview, the loss of the belief that people are inherently good. The narcissist trained you to be an object, an appliance in their life. When the toaster stops toasting, you throw it away. When you stop providing supply, or when you started asking for basic reciprocity, they discarded you or punished you. You internalized this objectification. You feel broken because you were treated as disposable. You are struggling to regain your humanity because for so long, your only value was measured by how useful you were to them. You are relearning that you have a right to exist simply for yourself, not as a utility for someone else's emotional regulation. Let's talk about the silence in your head, or rather, the noise. You might be physically alone now, but their voice is still narrating your life. You drop a glass, and you hear their criticism. You want to buy a shirt, and you wonder if they would approve. This is psychic colonization. They broke down your boundaries so effectively that they moved in. The feeling of being broken comes from the fact that you don't know where you end and they begin. You are untangling a knot of two psyches, and the process is agonizing. You are exorcising a ghost that knows all your passwords. The world tells you to move on, but they don't understand that you are rehabilitating a shattered nervous system. You are hypervigilant. A car door slamming makes you jump. A change in someone's tone of voice sends you into a panic spiral. You are living in a body that believes it is still in danger. They broke your safety mechanism. They rewired your amygdala to perceive love as a threat and intimacy as a trap. This biological reprogramming is why you feel damaged. You are trying to navigate a peaceful life with a brain that is wired for combat. There is also the shame, the deep, toxic shame of letting it happen. You replay the red flags you ignored. You beat yourself up for staying, for going back, for believing them one more time. The narcissist projected their shame onto you, and you caught it. You are carrying their baggage. You feel dirty, tainted by the relationship. This sensation of being soiled is a hallmark of narcissistic abuse. They treated you like a trash can for their negative emotions, and now you feel like you need to scrub your soul with steel wool just to feel clean again. But I want you to stay with me, because we are going to reframe this brokenness. You are not a pile of rubble. You are a building under renovation. The demolition phase is messy, loud, and terrifying, but it is necessary to clear the rut. The narcissist revealed the cracks in your foundation, your people-pleasing, your lack of boundaries, your need for external validation. They didn't break you. They broke your defenses. And now, staring at the ruins, you have a choice. Do you rebuild the same fragile house, or do you build a fortress? To understand how they broke you, we must dissect the machinery of their manipulation. It wasn't one big blow. It was death by 1,000 cuts. It was the erosion of reality. They started small, denying they said something, questioning your memory, making you feel too sensitive. This is gaslighting, but think of it as a solvent. They poured this solvent over your perception of reality every day until your trust in your own mind dissolved. You feel broken today because you lost the ability to trust your own senses. You became dependent on them to tell you what was real, effectively handing over the keys to your sanity. They utilized intermittent reinforcement to break your will. If they had been cruel 100% of the time, you would have left. Instead, they gave you breadcrumbs of affection, moments of the golden period, just enough to keep you hooked. This created a biochemical addiction in your brain. You became a lab rat pressing a lever for a pellet of love that came randomly. This cycle flooded your brain with cortisol and dopamine, creating a trauma bond stronger than heroin. You are not just heartbroken. You are in withdrawal. The broken feeling is the agony of a brain starving for the chemical high of the chaotic relationship. The narcissist systematically isolated you from your support system. They didn't necessarily forbid you from seeing friends. They just made it miserable. They picked fights before you went out, or they sulked when you came home happy. Slowly, you stopped going out. You stopped sharing. You became an island. They broke your bridges to the outside world so that they became your only reality. Now that you are out, you look around and feel the desolation of that island. You feel broken because you lost the reflection of yourself that you used to see in the eyes of people who loved you. They weaponized your empathy against you. They knew you were a healer, a fixer, a giver. They presented themselves as a broken soul needing your love to be whole. You poured yourself into them, thinking you were saving them. But the narcissist is a black hole. No amount of light can fill them. You feel broken because you poured your cup until it was dry, and they were still demanding more. You are suffering from compassion fatigue on a terminal level. You gave them the best parts of you, and they consumed it without even tasting it. Let's talk about the double bind. They put you in situations where you were damned if you did, and damned if you didn't. If you spoke up, you were aggressive. If you stayed silent, you were passive-aggressive. If you cried, you were manipulative. If you didn't cry, you were cold. This creates a state of learned helplessness. You stop trying to succeed because failure was rigged into the game. This paralysis follows you. You feel broken because your agency was suffocated. You are afraid to make decisions now because you expect punishment no matter what you choose. They attack your core competences. Whatever you were good at, your job, your parenting, your hobbies, they minimize or mocked. They couldn't stand you having a source of self-esteem outside of them. They needed you small. They chipped away at your confidence until you felt incompetent. You feel broken because you internalize their envy-driven critiques as truth. You look at your talents now and see them through their sneering eyes. They stole the joy of your own competence. The narcissist used triangulation to make you feel insecure and competitive. They compared you to exes, to co-workers, to random strangers. They made you fight for your position in their life. This destroyed your sense of security. You were always on probation, always one mistake away from being replaced. This constant state of anxiety burned out your adrenals. You feel broken physically because your body has been running from a predator for years without rest. You are exhausted down to your mitochondria. They projected their own malice onto you. When they were cheating, they accused you of cheating. When they were lying, they called you a liar. This is projection, but it feels like a hallucination. You spent hours defending yourself against crimes you didn't commit. This defense took over your life. You feel broken because you spent years in a courtroom defending your character against a prosecutor who was fabricating evidence. You lost your sense of who you are because you were too busy proving who you weren't. They violated your boundaries until you forgot you had them. They read your texts, tracked your location, demanded your passwords. They invaded your physical and mental space until you had no privacy left. This total enmeshment felt like love at first, but it was actually engulfment. You feel broken because you were swallowed whole. You are trying to find the edges of your own skin again. You feel exposed and raw, like a burned victim, because your protective layers were stripped away. Finally, they discarded you without closure. Whether they left you or forced you to leave, they refused to acknowledge the pain they caused. They moved on instantly, as if you never existed. This erasure is the final blow. It makes you question if the relationship ever happened. You feel broken because you are holding the grief of a funeral that they refused to attend. You are left with the wreckage, while they walked away whistling, looking for the next victim. There is a specific moment where the breaking happens. It isn't usually during the screaming matches. It happens in the quiet. It happens when you look at them and realize there is no one home. You see the mask slip. Maybe they looked at you with cold, dead eyes while you were sobbing. Maybe they smirked when you were in pain. In that split second, the illusion of the person you loved evaporated. Your mind couldn't reconcile the monster in front of you with the soulmate you thought you knew. That snap you felt, that was your reality fracturing. This turning point is characterized by a terrifying realization. I am in love with a fantasy. You realize you have been interacting with a hologram, a projection of your own desires reflected off a mirror. The person you sacrificed everything for does not exist. The emptiness of this realization is crushing. It feels like falling through the floor. You feel broken because the foundation of your life was built on a sinkhole. The vertigo of this truth makes you question everything. Your judgment, your history, your sanity. When you stop providing supply, when you stop crying, stop arguing, stop reacting, you see the monster clearly. They escalate. They become cruel in ways that are almost cartoonish. They punish you for your silence. This is when the discard becomes imminent. You realize that to them, you are merely an appliance that has stopped working. The dehumanization hits you like a physical blow. You aren't losing a partner. You are being fired from a job you didn't know you had. The transactional nature of their love is finally exposed, and it breaks your heart. You start to see the script. You realize they are saying the same lines to you that they said to their ex. You realize the crazy ex they told you about was just a survivor like you. You see the pattern, and you realize you are just a cog in a machine. This destroys your sense of specialness. You thought you shared a unique, cosmic connection. Realizing you were just project number 4 in a long line of victims is a humiliating blow to the ego. It makes you feel interchangeable, generic, and used. The betrayal trauma sets in. It's not just the cheating or the lying. It's the betrayal of your vulnerability. You remember the secrets you told them in the dark, and you realize they were gathering ammunition. You feel a cold dread knowing they know your weak spots. The person who was supposed to protect you is the one holding the gun. This inversion of safety breaks your ability to trust anyone. You look at kind people and wonder, what do you want from me? You assume every hand extended in friendship is hiding a dagger. During this shift, you might experience a psychotic break or intense dissociation. The pain is too great for the conscious mind to process, so you check out. You might drive somewhere and forget how you got there. You might lose hours of time. You feel like you are watching a movie of your life rather than living it. This detachment is your brain's emergency brake. You feel broken because you are no longer in the driver's seat. You are a passenger in a car that is crashing, and you can't reach the wheel. The anger finally arrives, but it has nowhere to go. You want to scream, to explain, to make them understand. But you realize they cannot understand because they do not care. Talking to them is like screaming at a brick wall. This impotent rage turns inward. You start hating yourself for being so stupid, so blind. You attack yourself because attacking them is useless. This self-hatred is the acid that corrodes your soul. You feel broken because you are at war with yourself. You look at the damage to your life, the lost friends, the drained bank account, the stalled career. The tangible losses pile up. You realize you have to rebuild from zero, or less than zero. The sheer mountain of work ahead of you feels insurmountable. You feel paralyzed. How did I let it get this bad? This question haunts you. The overwhelming magnitude of the cleanup operation makes you want to curl up and disappear. You feel broken because you are bankrupt in every sense of the word. The future faking collapses. All the plans you made, the trips, the house, the growing old together, dissolve. You aren't just losing a past. You are losing your future. You have to delete the timeline you had in your head. The grief of the unlived life is profound. You feel aimless, adrift without a compass. You were steering your ship toward a lighthouse that turned out to be a train coming at you. Now you are lost at sea in the dark. Finally, you realize that they are not suffering. They are fine. They are sleeping soundly while you pace the floor. The injustice of it chokes you. How can the perpetrator be happy while the victim is destroyed? This lack of cosmic justice breaks your faith in the universe. You feel abandoned by God, by karma, by fairness. You are left holding the bag of pain that belongs to them. The unfairness of it all leaves a bitter taste in your mouth that never seems to wash away. Now you are out. The dust has settled. This is the collapse. You are sitting in the wreckage of your identity. You might feel CPTSD symptoms, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not just memories. It's emotional flashbacks. You feel small, helpless, and terrified for no reason. You are a 40-year-old adult feeling like a 5-year-old child in a closet. This regression is humiliating. You feel broken because you cannot command your own emotions. You are ruled by triggers you can't even identify. The isolation deepens. You try to explain it to friends, but you sound crazy. He left the milk out to hurt me. It sounds petty, but you know the context makes it abusive. You stop talking. You retreat. You become a hermit. The broken feeling is amplified by loneliness. You feel like a leper, carrying a disease that no one wants to catch. You watch the world go by through a window, feeling like you no longer belong to the human race. You grapple with cognitive dissonance on a daily basis. Your heart still misses them, but your brain knows they are dangerous. This internal civil war tears you apart. You hate them, but you check their social media. You want them dead, but you want them to call. This ambivalence makes you feel weak and pathetic. Why do I miss my abuser? You judge yourself for the addiction. You feel broken because you cannot simply switch off the love you felt, even though that love was weaponized against you. Your physical health crashes. The cortisol flood has stopped, and your body collapses. Autoimmune flare-ups, migraines, digestive issues, chronic pain. The body keeps the score. You feel betrayed by your own biology. You are physically too weak to fight, yet mentally unable to rest. You feel broken because your vessel is failing you. You are trapped in a body that is screaming the story of your abuse. The smear campaign reaches your ears. You hear the lies they are spreading. They are painting you as the villain, and people are believing it. The injustice burns like fire. You want to defend yourself, but you know it's a trap. Jade, justify, argue, defend, explain, only feeds them. So you have to swallow the injustice. You have to let them win the public relations war to win the private peace. This silence feels like swallowing glass. You feel broken because your reputation is being murdered while you watch, gagged. You encounter the void. Without the constant chaos of the relationship, life feels empty. You are bored. You realize you are addicted to the adrenaline. Normal life feels flat, gray, and lifeless. You struggle to find joy in a sunset or a cup of coffee. This anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure, is a terrifying symptom. You worry you are permanently damaged, that you will never feel happiness again. You feel broken because the color has been drained from your world. Trust is gone. Not just trust in men or women, but trust in yourself. How can I trust my judgment when I pick them? You analyze every new interaction to death. You are waiting for the other shoe to drop. You push good people away because you are terrified of being hurt again. You sabotage potential connections. You feel broken because you have become a fortress with a drawbridge permanently up, starving inside your own walls. You struggle with executive dysfunction. Basic tasks feel impossible. Doing the laundry, paying bills, answering emails. It feels like climbing Everest. Your brain is in a fog. You stare at a wall for hours. This paralysis is the result of a nervous system in freeze mode. You feel broken because you used to be capable, sharp, and efficient. Now you feel like you are wading through molasses. You mourn your cognitive sharpness. The intrusive thoughts are relentless. You replay the arguments in the shower. You think of the perfect comeback you should have said 3 years ago. You obsess over the why. Why me? Why did they do this? The rumination is a hamster wheel you cannot step off. You feel broken because your mind is not your own. It has been hijacked by a ghost who refuses to leave. But hey, in the absolute bottom of the pit, there is a strange clarity. You have hit rock bottom, which means you have hit solid ground. You are broken, yes, but you are still here. The worst thing that could happen to you, the destruction of yourself, has happened, and you survived it. You are breathing. You are watching this. The collapse is complete. And now, there is nowhere to go but up. Let's talk about the truth. They didn't break you. They broke the role you were playing. They broke the people pleaser. They broke the naive child who thought love meant self-sacrifice. They broke the codependent who needed to save others to feel worthy. Those parts of you needed to break. They were unsustainable. The pain you feel is not the death of you. It is the death of the false self you constructed to survive in a harsh world. The narcissist, in their cruelty, inadvertently forced you to shed a skin that was too small for you. You are experiencing post-traumatic growth. It doesn't feel like growth. It feels like hell. But fire purges. The intense heat of this experience is burning away everything that isn't essential. You are finding out what is made of gold and what was made of wood. Your resilience, your truth, your capacity to survive. That is the gold. It didn't melt. It is still there, buried under the ash. You are not broken. You are being forged. Consider the Japanese art of kintsugi. When a bowl is broken, they don't throw it away. They mend the cracks with gold. The bowl becomes more beautiful and more valuable because it has been broken. You are that bowl. Your scars are not signs of defect. They are lines of history. They are the gold veins where you put yourself back together. You will never be the pristine bowl again, and thank God for that. You are now something far more interesting, far more durable, and far more profound. You have acquired a superpower, vision. You can now see what others cannot. You can spot a manipulator from a mile away. You can read micro-expressions. You can feel the energy of a room. This hypervigilance will eventually settle into wisdom. You are now a guardian of the gate. You know the devil exists, which means you can protect your sanctuary. You are no longer naive prey. You are an awakened survivor. The healing comes when you stop trying to fix the old version of you and start building a new one. Stop looking for the person you were before you met them. That person is gone. Honor them. Grieve them. But let them go. The new you is harder. Yes, but also deeper. The new you knows the value of peace. The new you knows that no is a complete sentence. The new you respects yourself too much to ever settle for crumbs again. You must reclaim your narrative. For years, they told the story of who you were. You're crazy. You're sensitive. You're weak. Now, you take the pen back. You write the story. I am strong. I am resilient. I am a warrior who walked through fire. Do not let their voice be the narrator of your future. Their chapter is done. Turn the page. The rest of the book belongs to you. Understand that the invisible scars are your reminders. They ache when it rains. Yes, but they remind you that you survived the battle. Do not hide them. Do not be ashamed of your anxiety, your trust issues, your grief. These are the normal reactions of a healthy human being to an unnatural situation. Wear your survival with pride. You faced a soul eater and you kept your soul. That is a victory. The narcissist is stuck in a loop. They will do this to the next person, and the next, forever chasing a void they can never fill. They are the broken ones, permanently and irreparably. You, however, are evolving. You are moving forward. You are capable of introspection, of change, of true love. They broke you open, but in doing so, they released you. You are free in a way they will never be. So, when the thought comes, they broke me, I want you to finish the sentence. They broke me open. They broke me open to my own strength. They broke me open to the truth. They broke me open so I could finally build a life that is authentically mine. The cracking of the shell is the only way the bird can be born. You are not the shell. You are the bird. Stand up. Look in the mirror. Look at those tired eyes. There is still a spark there. That is the part of you they couldn't touch. That is the part that is going to save you. You are not damaged goods. You are a masterpiece in the making, put back together with gold, stronger at the broken places. Now, dry your eyes. You have a life to live. and it is going to be a magnificent one.